It's that Zoom makes you click that extra button that says share screen and audio. It's that audio.
I did that. Problem is I did a new headset and
It's all right.
forgot to.
Are you starting over? Or are we going?
Nah, just go. I'll fix it in post.
Welcome everybody to, and sometimes those are the best intros, the ones that completely go wrong. Welcome everybody to another episode of Sheltering in Place with the Retireholics, and we got another fancy pants guest with us here today, Mr. Phil Troyer, ERISA attorney extraordinaire from Resources. Do we call you guys Resources these days, or do I have to say the whole thing? Resources Investment Advisors? I'm not sure. Straighten me out.
Well, so we go by Resources, but it's better than what we used to use was RIA, Resources Investment Advisor. So, advisors would say our RIA is RIA, which sounds really ridiculous. So
that's confusing.
We go by Resources.
Yeah. I like Resources.
Got fired in marketing.
And Resources is a great group of advisors. We'll talk a little bit more about that down the line here, but hopefully a few of them will be tuning in. So if you have already, welcome. And for the rest of you that have tuned in, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. We've been on a little bit of an ERISA attorney kind of run lately. We've been having quite a few of them on here, and I've come to an epiphany.
Oh boy.
ERISA attorneys are a lot cooler than I think the average consumer thinks, right? I'm kind of feeling like they're a bit like the rock stars of the 401k industry. And if that's not true, I'm going to make it true today. And we're going to start that trend. ERISA attorneys are the 401k rock stars of the industry. Agreed, Mark?
Yeah.
You need a hashtag, JD. What's it going to be?
Oh, I'll have to figure that one
You
out.
got to come up with something clever.
All I'm going to say, JD, is maybe you were the only one who inadvertently stereotyped them as not being rock stars, and some of us already thought that. So maybe you're just a dick. I don't
think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. Blake says, I don't know many of them, but I surely wouldn't want to F with that guy. Yes, he definitely has some hobbies outside of ERISA, which entail rolling around on the ground with other men and hurting each other. But I wouldn't want to mess with him either.
But he is wearing a bodysuit right now. Those aren't his real arms.
It's like that Jason Momoa, episode.
Oh, that phenomenal is sick. It makes me feel gross.
That's the best Super Bowl commercial, bar none, I think. I used to also think that ERISA attorneys led these exciting lives. But I got an email from you, Phil, and you said, what a week. We're in the midst of a routine SEC audit. I finalized our responses to the initial information request yesterday. Given that was off my plate, I spent the morning drafting our Form CRS, parentheses ADV Part 3, which is the equivalent of asking us to specify everything a client would need to know about our operations in 2 pages. So that's what your day-to-day is like. Sounds exciting, bro.
Yeah. Welcome to a typical day. So.
Yeah. Not what I had imagined, not nearly as romantic as I had imagined it. Let me do
really
a little bit of housekeeping. If you're not already in gallery view, I think you should do that. It's the best way to look at it. It's a little hover over icon up in the top right. Please chat with us if you're not already. And when you do, chat to the attendees, not just the panelists, because we want everyone to see your questions and comments, and chat about anything, man. If you haven't been here before, let us know if you got a question. Let us know what you're drinking. Let us know, what you think of Mark's stinky robe. I mean, anything, throw it out there. And then again, thanks for attending. If Reese, what Mark's got on his hat, is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Chen?
I'm trying to figure out what's on the front. What's on your snapback there, Mark?
Is it a sponsor?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a sponsor.
A new sponsor.
I thought that was supposed to go on your ass.
Well, so first off, it's offensive that she sent them so small. So apparently she doesn't think I have a big ass. But secondly, I'm sure she's probably wondering if she's ever watched any of these at all. Why isn't it on your robe yet? Well, just quickly, first off, I don't know how to sew. Okay, I don't. I've never tried. I never will. So then I thought today, oh, that's perfect size. So genius.
It looks clean. Well done. I can sew it for you if you need me to.
It's
Your internet-
taped on with Scotch tape, just so you know.
Mark, your internet sucks. And then again, I want to thank everybody that's out there, not just the people. Is he breaking up on you or just me?
Yeah, me
Everybody.
too.
Okay. Not just the resources people that are in the house, but all the other advisors, TPAs, and industry peeps that joined us. Thanks for being here. Word of the episode, prohibited word of the episode. I did not come up with one, and I've learned something last week. I like having someone else choose the word of the episode, so I'm going to throw it out to our attendees. Yes.
It didn't work so well last time.
No, I'm
No,
gonna pick one.
He's
Put him
throwing
on
it
the
out to the
spot.
attendees to give them enough time to get through a little bit of the episode without having to drink.
No. I'm gonna pick one straight up. I'm gonna call out. No, it's definitely not gonna be you, Matthew Jackson. I'm gonna call out Bryant Lester right now. You come up with a name, and if you screw it up, it's all your fault. Type it in
Ooh,
there,
I like
Brian.
pears.
You've got 10 seconds to figure it out. And you know
Carry
how
or
this
carry
works,
some
Phil.
pears.
Once we know
Yeah.
what the word is, if you say the word, you must drink from your nasty drink. And hopefully as you're cruising along, you're sipping from Fireball. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And I got a shout out to drinking a little Whistle Pig 10. So this is for you, Brett and Tom. So
I got a little margarita, and then I'm going to be sipping from tequila, which usually gets me in trouble. Nothing from Bryant yet. Did Bryant bail on us?
On here?
Am I breaking up again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Here.
Yeah, JD, Brian's not even
Wi-Fi
here
sucks.
anymore. He bounced.
He bailed.
He
Okay.
bounced on you.
We'll go with Michael Rosenthal. We'll go with the good old fashioned advisor. It's the last time I said it. You say it
Oh,
again.
that's tough.
You got to drink from your drink. Thank you, Michael, for the very creative, prohibitive word of the episode. We've only
Best
done
one.
that one about 20 times before, but it's a good one. Let's
Jeez,
dive right in.
that's a
Wait,
good
what's the
one.
word? I gotta.
yeah, what is it? I didn't see it.
ADVISOR.
Ah, great.
Yeah, let me check my audio now.
Good bait. Still
It's-
quiet, B.
It's quiet. Might want to ramp it up. Let's dive. I want to dive right
Are you on
into.
Mark's Wi-Fi, Brandon?
I want to jump right into to subject number one.
Just gonna say I've never had one issue. Just gonna say it. Never one.
Subject number one, managed accounts. And I've got a history with managed accounts, and it's probably come a long way since I was first involved with them in the 401k space. But we used to do a lot of Nationwide. Nationwide Financial is a TPA shop. And so 15 years ago, they came out with this managed account service deal. And we started partnering with advisors to sell a lot of it. And the concept back in the, oh, geez.
Graphics already up.
All right, just can't keep that one. Keep speaking. I'll hit this here in a second. And everyone was really excited about it. Now, at the time, they were excited for two reasons. One, they felt like it was really something better for the participants, but at the same time, they were getting paid a little extra too back in the day. And so, anyways, it was pretty successful. It was sold a lot.
In full transparency, who else was getting paid a little bit more back
The
in the day?
TPA got a little sliver.
Yeah,
It wasn't a lot, but and then the firm that was doing it, there was another firm that was an intermediary. Anyways, my point is, I ended up speaking with a lot of participants along the way, and the common question was always like, well, why the managed accounts versus the TDF? In a way, and I'm sure Phil's very experienced with this, they almost didn't see the difference, right? Because both investments felt like they were churning over the keys to someone else. And the concept back then was that, well, in the managed accounts, you were going to answer some questions, and we were going to be able to drill down a little deeper on what your true risk tolerance was, and that was the advantage. Now, over time, I tended to see like performance struggled at times, the company that was doing struggled, but is that still the same story today with managed accounts? And we'll go to Phil first, but then to you guys, are you seeing it out there? Are you dealing with a lot? Because I know it's a big deal at your guys' shop.
It is, yeah. You know, and to me, I just saw it as a natural progression. I'm a big proponent of managed accounts simply because, you know, my dad was a blue collar worker. He, you know, worked in the mobile home industry, and you'd see a lot of guys like him that, blue collar workers, and you work at the same company for, 20, 30, 40 years, and you have a 401k, you can build up a really big balance, some six, maybe sometimes even seven figures. And you're asking guys with high school educations to manage an investment portfolio worth, 7 figures. And they're just like, I don't know, just tell me what to do. I can't pick it. So to me, there was this natural progression of,
what is going on now?
It's not me. It's not me.
Justin, did you bring your vibrator? Sorry, Phil.
That was Brandon trying to figure something out.
Are we being Zoom bombed? We're being Zoom bombed.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I got you. Of course, participants.
This natural progression. So, you had pensions, and everybody loved pensions, especially if you're the recipient. But if you're the employer, you hated them because all the risk was on you as the employer. And so then 401ks came along, and they're like, oh, hey, great. We'll transfer that risk to the participant. So it was great for the employer. Now the participant, though, was like, guess what? We're going to give you this basket of funds. You got to pick and make an allocation. And like I said, a lot of them were just like, I don't know. Somebody just tell me what to do. So then you had target date funds, and target date funds are fine, but the problem, it was an advancement. But the problem is that, target date will treat everybody who's expecting to retire in the same 5 to 10 year window, exactly the same. So if you're 55 years old, you're the CEO of a company, you've got 7, maybe 8 figures in your plan, and you're set, you're going to be treated exactly the same way as the janitor who's just starting out and needs to be a lot more aggressive to hit his retirement goals. So to me, that's the pitch is, just like you said, JD, and I think now record keepers are a lot more sophisticated in what they can pull off. That's not only age, gender, income, how much you have in your plan, how much you're deferring, if you answer questions, what other accounts that you have, things like that. So you can really drill down and personalize the portfolio, for that person.
Now,
I was about to text. Sorry, Chad. I was about to text Brandon. I'm like, why am I texting him? Brandon, I think we might be picking up some of your audio or something.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, go ahead, Chad.
I was just gonna say, is that portfolio that gets created that takes a little bit of risk tolerance in their personal situation, and couples it with perhaps their age or horizon, is that really any different from a management perspective than creating a target date fund that embraces some risk tolerance questionnaire and just puts them on a path and keeps on going?
It really is, and I can't remember how many different variations we have, as a result of, because all the different things factor into it. It's not just your age and you're on a glide path, depending on when you intend to retire. But, if you look at 2 55-year-olds, they could have completely different investment ranges. And so, that's one of the good things about it. It really isn't that one size fits all that you get with a target date fund.
Here would be my we'll go combat. Here would be my combat to that.
Yeah, you're done, buddy.
Be careful.
Phil's got me in a ground and pound right now.
On that note, real quick.
Come on, let me
hold on. Shannon did, or that was a Shannon.
Rear naked show.
Somebody wants to know, Phil, who would you be scared of the Retireholics to go toe to toe with?
Of the Retireholics?
Yeah, who'd you be scared of facing the ring?
Most.
I got to go with the bald guys. We're the badasses. So
the bad choice.
That was a smart choice.
Justin's soft.
A bad choice as in you think you'd kick his ass or something, or what's going on?
I'm gonna be in the hospital pretty quick.
I think we can all understand that participants struggle with choosing their own investments. And so anything as an industry that we can create for them that helps them to proper risk tolerance and proper diversity and proper asset allocation, I think everyone thinks there's a thumbs up on that. We all agree that that's good. So, and to what degree you can do it and who can make the better widget, like that's all up for debate, and that's great. And we can all go out and try to sell our own products in that space. But let's talk a little bit more about the revenue since we've got an attorney here. Is it okay, and I'll just pick on your guys' firm, even though I'm a massive fan of what you guys do. Is it okay for an advisor? I'll drink for that one. Is it okay for a financial professional to sell a client a 401k, but then also be selling them, in a sense, their own investments in a way? I know I'm stretching the truth there a little bit. You know what I'm talking about. Is one, is that okay? And then two, is it also okay to make more money if you're doing that? And I don't even know if that is the structure that you guys have.
Yeah, and so it's complicated. I mean, the answer is yes, but you have to be very careful about how you do it. And to show you, kind of how crazy ERISA is. So the way we do it is we have the participants enter into a contract with us that say, we're going to act as your investment manager. Then we have our proprietary CITs that we use to then create those allocations. But we don't charge anything. We're the investment manager to those CITs, but we don't collect any fee on that. So we're only charging the participants, taking nothing on the actual investments that we're using. If you flip that, and even if the amounts are the same, let's say we're charging the participant, 35 basis points. If we flip it and say, what, participant, we're not going to charge you anything, but we're going to collect 35 bips on the CITs, then it's a prohibited transaction. Even though we're collecting the same amount of money, because now, in that scenario, and I've seen firms do it, now in that scenario, we are using our position as the investment advisor, investment manager to increase our compensation, which is obviously a prohibited transaction. So, and where it gets even more complicated is if you're the investment manager to the plan, if you're just a 321, then you can recommend managed accounts to the plan sponsor. And we always have the plan sponsor sign off on it. But if you're the 338, you can't use your authority as the 338 to implement managed accounts. What you have to do is you have to go and sell it to the plan sponsor and say, look, I'm not coming to you as the investment manager. I'm coming to you as a salesman and saying, I think you should purchase this product from me. And if you do, I'll add it on, but it's your choice, not mine.
Yeah, full disclosure,
Michael,
full whatever.
Question that was interesting. Do you guys have any studies or studies out there that show how managed accounts perform net of fees in comparison?
Yes, we do. And actually, it's a lot of the firms that have come up with it. So Empower has a lot of them out there. We use Morningstar. So there's kind of, the reason it takes, I've been pushing this since I joined the firm in 2014. But it took a while to get to it because, you can say, hey, I'm going to offer managed accounts, but okay, I'm offering you managed accounts. How can I actually do it? Well, I have to either have your password, go in and manually make trades, and then to bill you for it, I'm going to have to manually bill you unless I can partner with a record keeper. And that's where we started making strides and started to partner with record keepers like, Empower and John Hancock and Schwab, to be able to offer those where they'll actually allow us to go in and do it in an automated sense. But Morningstar has a lot of data on it that says, yes, they do perform better. And it's not just from a, allocation standpoint that the funds perform better, but it's the, if you know that your account is being managed, you're less likely. I was just talking to Jamie Batmer, our CIO today, and he said, it's proven true just in this last downturn that people who are in managed accounts were less likely to bail out and make bad decisions at the wrong time, as opposed to those that were even in a target date fund, or especially those that were managing their own funds. I got to do something about these lights.
So here would be my comment regarding managed accounts and what I'd like to see us do as an industry. And we've seen this over the past. We saw it with Stadion. We saw it with CLS years ago. I think that traditional, in the way I see it with many of these record keepers, managed accounts versus a TDF or a TDF risk tolerance hybrid does not distinguish much in terms of performance. There's an additional cost on the managed account, and there's not enough benefit in my mind on that side. Now, CLS and Stadion, some of these others that they've done in the past, what they've created is a sliver of that portfolio. This will be tactically managed. So this 20% is going to be looking at what the market's doing. How volatile is it? What do our metrics tell us? Do we need to move this extra 20% to sole cash or fixed account? Do we need to be aggressive in stocks and equities? I think that is the future of managed accounts. That is great value for a participant who, as someone mentioned in the chat, we're trying to save them from themselves. Saving them from a TDF isn't a huge differentiator between a TDF and a managed account, but saving them from a tactically managed account and a TDF, I think carries a lot of weight.
Wouldn't one argue that they already think that that's happening?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
We can't make those arguments.
We
We have to do things for them, Mark. They don't necessarily understand all these things, but we got to do it in their best interest. But I agree with you.
Point. If you say managed account, my mind thinks you're managing my account, not creating me an asset allocation and saying, get out there and be somebody. Like it's not, it shouldn't just be a one-time thing. It should be an ongoing managed account.
And it is. And so, that's why we partner with firms like Morningstar or Stadion. So we'll come up with the CITs and we'll say, these are the kind of the buckets that we have, these 6, they're 3 accumulation, 3 decumulation models. And then a firm like Stadion or Morningstar, they take it, use all those other factors, and then also have a glide path that goes along with it. So they're constantly being rotated in and out, as their glide path says you should become more conservative. But everybody's not on the same glide path.
But does anything within that mix have to do with current market conditions or economic conditions? Or is it, here's what it is and you're staying that path?
No, so that's one of the things that, that our company did. I hope we're not giving away the secret sauce here, but, once again, Jamie Batmer, who's our CIO, what he came up with is, those 3 buckets, and there are 2 versions, one on accumulation, one on decumulation. So we have one that's an equity bucket, one that's a debt or a bond bucket. But the third one is a risk mitigation bucket that's designed to, when the market crashes, that it smooths that out. And so that's, been a great test during this time period. And I will say, I have my own 401k account in our managed accounts. So it's not just like, I'm not eating our cooking. I do. And that was one of the things when I saw we had that, I'm like, great, I'm going to become more aggressive. And when it came back and, had me in a kind of a moderately aggressive because of my age, I said, no, I want to be, very aggressive because I think I can.
I want to take a small fun break, but I think we can revisit this and our next subject, because I want to kind of talk a little bit more in depth about what we talked on stage with you in the LA area, over a year ago. Or was it a year ago? So I want to dive a little deeper in that, and that's the whole kind of Schlictner and selling additional things to your participants. But before we get there, because that'll help me dive into these fees on these managed accounts a little more. Before we get there, let's play a game. And Mark, even though your internet sucks, you're in charge of the game. What is it?
I think I've got it figured out, right?
You seem okay. You seem okay now.
All right. Bandwidth, guys. Bandwidth. That's all it was. All right. Game time. JD, I didn't know where you were going. I thought you were going to make me do the wheel of ice.
No, I'm mixing it up.
Okay, Phil. Every episode, I'm sure you've watched many of them. We play a little game. It's called Lame or Game. I have a series of questions. Either you're game or you think it's lame. I will say, I'm going to throw a curveball a little bit for this episode because I feel like I have some better questions to ask yourself.
Okay.
Mark's always got a curveball.
So you ready, Phil?
I'm ready.
All right, I love it. My first lame or game question is talking on your phone, utilizing the speaker function in public. So not like on your headsets, not on whatever. Walking around the store, just blabbing away, and you can hear the person like, "Oh yeah, Jed, yes, last week I was at the doctor's and he removed this thing off me." What are your thoughts?
Lame-o.
Okay, Chad.
Lame for sure.
Justin.
Hate them almost as much as I hate Karens.
Ooh, he's bringing Karen into the mix.
Karen game's gotten strong.
Yes.
Is there anybody that thinks that's game for that? I don't think so. I mean, obviously the people
I don't know. People do it all the time.
Why do people do it? Yeah.
Rope guy definitely does it.
I only do that if I'm like doing big $1 million deals and I want everyone at Starbucks to hear what a baller I am.
Right. All right. So because the lamer game piece to this, I feel like I'm always some of the questions just weren't interesting enough to me. I wanted to give some more hypothetical type stuff since, again, going back to the resources conference from last year, which, by the way, is where the robe was born. Okay, thanks to that conference, the robe was born.
That's right. That's right.
That I also had the amazing ability to watch your video that you made challenging Schlictner to the brawl, if you will, with utilizing a 3-6 Mafia song. So that really spoke to my heart. So I wanted to keep it kind of like fight related. Right. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If you had to go one round, 3 minutes, one round with Floyd Mayweather Jr. right now, okay, for $1 million. Okay, that's your payoff here. But caveat, if he knocks you down, not out, but down, you cannot use your phone for an entire year. Are you stepping into that ring to potentially win $1 million?
Yeah, that one's tough. I will say that as a just so everybody's clear, I am not. People say, "Oh, our CCO is a MMA fighter." I've never gotten in the ring. I'm not that crazy. Okay. $1 million would be tempting, especially Mayweather's pretty defensive. He's not known as a big puncher, but the other thing I'll say is I'm going to go for it and say yes, simply because, hey, my background, if I had my actual background here, you would see I grew up among the Mennonites and Amish. If I can't go without a phone for a year, I'm just not living up to my heritage.
All right. I love it. JD?
Oh, this question's for all of us?
You're getting lawyers. Nevin.
Yeah, I'm not going in the ring.
Okay. Chad?
I'm going for sure. I mean, that could help my family for years. Knock me out, kill me.
Now,
all right. There's insurance.
You just can't run back and forth. But Justin?
I'm doing it.
Okay. Now, sticking to the fighting the theme of my questions, I need each of you to pick one fictional character that you want to beat up. Ooh. Phil, I'll start with you.
Oh,
fictional. That's tough, Mark.
It is tough.
I'm just going to tell you this. I stole these questions from elsewhere, so don't worry.
Fictional character you want to beat up?
Bart Simpson.
I'll go while everyone else thinks. And that's just came to my head is just that asshole guy in Beauty and the Beast, like the guy that runs around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Gaston.
I'd kick Gaston's ass. I don't know why I came up with that one.
That's a good one. That's a good guy to look.
You're up, somebody.
Chad, you're next.
The first thing that came to my mind was Pinocchio because I want to break his lying nose.
Damn.
I need an easy fight.
I just spit all over my screen.
You're gonna beat up a kid. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I need to win. I just got worked by Floyd Mayweather.
Are Karen's fictional characters?
Yeah.
Karen's.
Okay. Phil?
Karen, there you go. Yeah. Man, I gotta go. I'm gonna go Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber. So.
What?
Oh, come on.
Hasn't he been through enough?
Oh my God. You and Chad, Pinocchio and Dumb and Dumber, not cool. Not cool. Those are innocent bystanders.
Sticking to the theme. Since Brad kind of stole a part of my question from earlier, I'm gonna go a different direction. If you were to, Phil, now this is just for you. If you were happening to be in a professional fight, you were going to say, screw it, I'm going to train, I'm going to go for MMA, boxing, whatever it is. And you got to pick one of us 4 Retireholics to be not your trainer, not anyone important, but your hype man. The guy bringing you out, maybe even saying something on a microphone. Who's that going to be?
I got to go with the main man, JD.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I would have said robe guy for
Mark.
sure.
In your face, Mark.
I knew he was going to say that, and I want to make JD feel better because he hates me.
Yeah, right. You go hang out with your best boy, Frederic.
My last one for all you guys. If food, any food, drinks, food for the rest of your life had to be hot or cold, pick one, go. JD, you're first.
Cold.
Phil?
Oh, I regret it.
Yeah, spoke too soon, buddy. Phil?
Hot.
Chad?
I'm weighing these ones. I think I'm going hot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
hot.
Okay, perfect. Well, you know
Mrs.
what they say.
You know what they say.
Mrs. Branderup. Mrs. Branderup says cold. Chad's working on his
Yeah, you
Don
seen
King haircut. All right. We do talk 401k on the show occasionally. So let's get back to, we had you on stage a while ago. That was a lot of fun. And we were only able to broach a subject, talking about how Mr. Schlichter, the 401k boogeyman, is really upset with this selling other services to participants. He's referred to it as whack-a-mole now, where he has to constantly figure out where the industry is bobbing and weaving to make money next. And he's not a big fan of it. It's been part of his lawsuits. You back then stood strongly against that concept. I'm assuming that you still do. Any updates on that and how you feel about selling things to the participants?
Well, like I said, at the time, I don't think that Jerry Schlichter and I are actually that far apart. So I think what he's upset about is if you're a plan sponsor and you just sign an agreement, say with a record keeper, and you don't realize that as part of that agreement, you've just given that record keeper the ability to contact your participants to try and sell them products. I agree, shouldn't happen.
So it's a disclosure thing. It's a disclosure thing.
It is. But on the flip side, we've won several plans, once again, with blue collar workers where the plan sponsor, I think, was very mature and said, look, we want somebody to come in and help our participants and they need that help. So one, we have a program, you talked to Brandon Cutler at our conference, who's our main, almost said it, our main mentor in that program, but providing financial advice, maintaining a budget, reducing debt, those type of things. They thought that was great that we had that. But the other thing they did is they said, well, look, so we don't want to just help our participants when they're in the plan. These guys are rolling out, they're construction workers. They're rolling out, when they retire in their mid to late 50s, 7 figures in their profit sharing plans. And we don't want to just throw them to the wolves. So we want you guys to agree that you will handle their rollover accounts at a reduced fee as part of that. And I think that was great. So you've got a plan sponsor who is, actively involved, not just signing something, not knowing what they're doing, but has a reason why they're going to give somebody, they've made that conscious choice. And it could be us, it could be the record keeper, it could be an investment company, it could be a third party investment company. I don't care. But I think, plans are going overboard, plan sponsors are going overboard when they're just taking a hands off, nobody can touch our participants. And I get that, when I'm negotiating contracts with them, I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
It's so funny that this, I guess I shouldn't say funny, but this definition of fiduciary, and not the fiduciary rule, but just the concept of a fiduciary, how somehow now these lines are drawn that we're not allowed to, as an industry, create better, more efficient, more successful products and solutions for our participants, which is really what the industry is supposed to be tasked to do, is it not? We're supposed to help people retire. And so if we can let companies create better, cooler ways to do that, it's a bummer that they want to stand in front of us and not allow us to do it.
Go ahead, Phil.
All right. What I was going to say is that, and I can say this now that she's no longer in her position, but I used to tell our financial professionals that every morning when Phyllis Borsey woke up, her first thought was, these financial professionals are out to screw participants. These guys who are working in the 401k industry, that's their main goal. And that's just not true. And that, it frustrates me that that was the position. And I think, you're seeing some of that with the plaintiff's attorneys. And once again, I'm a former plaintiff's attorney myself, so I get it. But it's just, I understand there's a reason for it. And I think that, they do play a role, but I wish they would kind of get away from this idea that the people in this industry are just out to do what they can to screw over participants, because it's not true.
There's 2 thoughts come to mind. Number one, JD years ago started having the conversation of, as an industry, we need to be more vocal. We need to be more out there on social media to show the world that we are not out to get people, because we hide behind our security protocols as companies. We don't necessarily get out there and communicate who we are as individuals. And how do we break down that wall that we're actually out for the right reasons to help people? We've got to be more social and more out there. So first thing. Second thing, we said in the last conversation that what we need to do is stop participants from harming themselves. You could take that same conversation into this topic and say, we need to help participants help themselves. And I look back for an example to my dad's situation. My dad passed at age 35 with no insurance. I wish his 401k advisor had shook his pension advisor.
Drink.
I wish his pension professional had grabbed his shoulders and said, look, you're 35 years old, you're traveling, you got 4 kids, you need insurance. Because that would have meant a lot for our family. But my dad didn't have access to that kind of resource. The vast majority of people have access to that financial professional through their plan. So that person should be able to guide them down the right paths. Now, if they're selling a product, that's different, but they should be able to advise them and send them down the right path if they know that participant.
Nevin, you have failed all chat bar rules. That is far too long of a chat. How am I supposed to read that while focusing on my tequila? And sorry, Phil, go ahead.
I was going to say, so that's and I understand completely. The story I always tell in that regard is I worked with a guy in an insurance company once, and he was a high-level executive, and our company was purchased by GE. And so they offered a number of them early retirement, and he took it. And he said, well, I decided what I'm going to do. And I'm surprised GE was never sued. Their 401k sucked. I mean, it was just awful. They had their own mutual funds that were terrible. The only thing that, for the most part, made money was GE stock. He took all of his retirement money, put it in GE stock. And this would have been in like the mid 2000s. And if you know about GE stock, it cratered. And it's like, and then, an investment professional would have told him, no, don't do that. That's a horrible idea. You have to diversify.
I think this subject also starts to get very modern when we talk about data. Of course, Chad's situation, offering other services, I think that's all really relevant, but we're also now talking about data, and we're talking about a technology world where, Elon Musk can fly his own ship into outer space. And so the things that we could do with 401k could be just phenomenal, right? I mean, in terms of through someone's phone or an app or their access and delivering them to things that they didn't even know they needed based on the data that they were gathering from that. And I know that's a very scary thing. You hear about it with Facebook and Twitter and the whole deal, Google, Amazon, but it really is kind of where we're heading. And so that to me is the next biggest bummer is I feel like that data could be used in so many really cool ways to create the next modern day 3.0 401k, which I think we're in desperate need of. Right. We've been selling the same crap for 20 years, so to really move forward and do something new would be fun. But apparently Mr. Schlichter's not a fan of that, man. So.
Well, that's what, kind of tie it back to our original topic we were talking about. One of the things that really opened my eyes is, as the ERISA attorney, they don't drag me to many of the client conferences, but, I came along once on an early one, and we had done a demographic study. It was a hospital system. So when they had this demographic, they had it plotted by age and how aggressive people were in their investments. And you had 20-year-olds who were 100% in cash and cash alternatives because they didn't trust the markets. And people in their 60s, 100% equities.
Yeah.
And just like, if you leave it up to the...
Let me give you guys a personal story here, and then we'll jump into another game. My son is just turned 16, and he came to me and is like, Dad, I want to start an investment account. So I set him up a brokerage account, what do you call it? A custodial account or whatever, because he's not old enough to do it, but set it up, and he's got his own money, and he pumped in some serious money into there, and he's all fired up to invest. Well, he jumped on it because he talks to his buddies on the phone. He's 16. They're talking investments. And I sit him in the hot tub and I talk to him about diversity and asset allocation and all these types of things, sectors. Well, he's going straight after stocks. He wants nothing to do with mutual funds. And he dives in on Delta, the airlines, because he's like, Dad, look at the graph. They've been crushed. They're going to come back to their normal. And I'm like, go for it, buddy. Rock and roll, man.
How's that today going for him?
Then he comes back to me. Mark, he comes down the stairs the next day flapping his wings because he crushed it. This was several days ago. And he's like, check me out. I just made 10% today. What'd you do? And And then so he decides to buy some United.
Oh,
and he's like, Dad, I'm buying some United. I'm like, okay, buddy. So first of all, you realize these are both the same sector, right? It's like, I know, but this is the thing. So now he's got United, Hawaiian, and Delta. Those are his 3 stocks. This is my son. And he sleeps till about 11 in the morning. And I was watching the Dow absolutely fall from the sky today. And I can't help but look at my, I had to walk into his bedroom and say, buddy, the markets are a shit show and you're not going to be excited to check it out. Anyways, he got crushed. So Brandon, can we play, or Phil, we're going to play a little game. Brandon, if you're ready to cue it up and your audio stuff's working all right. Everybody cross your fingers at home too. We're going to play a game called Who Is That? We're going to play some audio clips and you need to guess the person, the movie, or just anything that it is, you know? All right, Brandon.
Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS reports.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
Yeah. You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out. Did you see the memo about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I have the memo right here. I just forgot. But it's not shipping out till tomorrow, so there's no problem.
Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great. And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo. Okay?
Yeah, no, I have the memo. I've got it. It's right.
Any guesses, Phil?
Yeah, it sounds so familiar, but now I can't think of it.
Did Nevin really get it right, Chad? Is that it? Nevin's guess was Office Space? Ah.
Yep.
All right. You're 0 for 1, big guy. We'll go number 2. Number 2.
Thought about this quite a bit, sir, and I would have to say, considering what's waiting out there for me, I don't want to sell anything, buy anything, or process anything as a career. I don't want to sell anything bought or processed, or buy anything sold or processed, or process anything sold, bought, or processed, or repair anything sold, bought, or processed. You know, as a career, I don't want to do that. So my father's in the Army. He wants me to join, but I can't work for that corporation. So what I've been doing lately.
These are long.
I actually use that quote when I do fiduciary training for plan sponsors, because I say Lloyd Dobler, the movie Say Anything, would make the perfect ERISA sponsor, because he would never engage in a prohibited transaction. He doesn't buy anything, sell anything, or process anything. He's fine.
I think the audience is being polite now. They're not putting in the answers.
I don't know if anybody else knew that one.
Or they don't know.
I think anybody else is old enough to remember that movie.
Okay, Brandon, we got one more.
What do you like to do?
Whatever you like.
What kind of music do you like?
Whatever kind of music you like.
Look, I know what I like. And I know you know what I like because you were trained to know what I like. But I would like to know what you like. For instance, do you have a favorite food?
Yes.
Good! What is your favorite food?
Whatever food you like.
You can just guess. Well, that counts.
It's definitely Eddie Murphy, but I'm guessing Coming to America.
Very well done.
His voice.
Very well done. I'm going to give you a strong 2 out of 3, and your 3 out of 3 with the assist from Nevin Adams at the ARA. So way to go. PPP has been something that's been front of mind for a lot of obvious reasons. We feel as though advisors should help should help their clients understand if they could get it. And now we feel like we're in this stage of helping them understand how to use it properly, right? So it can be forgivable. You mentioned to me that your crew of financial professionals is coming to you with lots of questions around this. What types of questions? What have you been stumped by? I mean, what kind of PPP action are you guys seeing over there at Resources?
So, the first question I got was, can a plan sponsor use PPP funds to use towards their matching funds for their 401k plan? And I have to say, my initial response was I actually went and read the regs, and it wasn't clear. It didn't say anything about retirement plans, but it was actually, you said Nevin Adams was on, but it was on NAPANET. was the answer. So I was able to say, yes, you can. The one I got recently, though, was can an employer use those funds to start a 401k plan?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. My response was I wouldn't recommend it because those are settler funds. And, and I think it's bizarre the way ERISA handles settler funds. But, they say that it's starting any money used to start a 401k is designed to benefit the employer, not the employees. So I don't know for that reason if it would be considered legal.
Here, and I'm not an attorney, but Chad and I had lots of conversations around this. And I seem to be fixated on the fact that they wanted 2.5 months, or excuse me, they wanted a full year. I guess it varied for different companies, but they wanted to see what your costs were, right? In terms of running your business and specifically to paying your employees and covering those types of things. And then they were very clear that they were going to give you this check to cover 2.5 months of a time period, right? To bridge this gap. That was the whole point behind the rules, this legislation. And so my answer to Chad was always, well, I don't think you should be spending that money on anything that doesn't match up with what you normally would spend in the course of the year and then prorated to 2.5 months. It seemed like that was a logical thing. But now my concept has been thrown out because 2.5 months is now 6 months. So I can't really line those two ideas up anymore.
Sure.
Was I making any sense, or was that just crazy talk from my end?
No, and the problem is it came out so quickly. I mean, it was kind of like, hey, just get this money out here and we'll figure it all out later. So who knows? And I doubt they're going to come back and really do much to police it. We'll see. So unfortunately, the other side of it that questions we've been getting, unfortunately, we haven't had very many of our plan sponsors go under, but we have had a few that have said, hey, because of everything that's going on, can we stop our match? And obviously, there's no requirement unless it's a safe harbor plan. You don't have to even have a plan or provide any type of a match. And you could cut it off at any time. Obviously, if it's a safe harbor plan, you have to give notice first, but it's very clear you still, even as a safe harbor plan, you can cut off the match if you need to.
Right. And Nevin and his team is working hard to find future solutions there for everybody as well. But yes, Chad.
I'm super interested in the startup thought. Phil, it seemed like your mind went to using it to cover plan costs.
Right.
I've not had this conversation yet, but I could see folks saying, we want to start a plan and use PPP funds to cover the matching costs. So start it up right away and use PPP funds to cover the matching costs. I haven't had that question yet, but as you were saying that, my mind went, well, if your amount that you claimed for the PPP was dependent upon prior expenses and you didn't have a plan in place, then hard to justify that you could use it for that. But I haven't seen anything that says you couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
I hate to beat the same old drum, but Chad and I were getting a lot of, we want to front load something, like we got this fat check from the PPP and we don't usually put in this much, but hey, let's take a look at a cross-vested profit sharing, or let's pump in the match that we'd normally deposit sometime next year. We'll throw it all in tomorrow, and that will be key. And again, even though my name's JD, I'm not an attorney, but I was telling people I think you should be following it based on the premise that it was created. And that if you veer from that, then you got to be prepared that your bank and your loaner and representing the SBA might come to you and say no. And I've said this before, and I want to repeat it for everyone listening. Think about how this actually tactically happens, right? So when it comes time to reference what you think should be forgivable, it's going to be between you and the bank, right? They're going to have some type of tech.
Great.
They're not going to allow you just to throw a bunch of paperwork at them and tell them what you think should be forgivable. They're going to ask you to fill out little columns and cells in an electronic technological app. And that may or may not say, hey, what was your entire profit sharing contribution for the year? So you're going to be screwed all together. You're going to have to work through their app. That's my thoughts, at least. So
you're saying you're going to go back to that quote, the first quote I was stumped on from the Office Space? Yeah, I'm going to need you to fill out this form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not even a form that allows any leniency. You're gonna have to put in the numbers they're asking you to put in. And so if you think you're gonna call your bank and then say, yeah, but you didn't ask me about where to put my front-loaded match that I put in or my cross-vested profit sharing, I think you're gonna be SOL. I don't think they want to sit there and work through it with you. Although maybe I'm wrong, they might. Yeah, Chad, you're right. I was gonna bring that up, the 2 million. We did hear from, what's the dude's name? Is Trump's finance guy, Mnuchin or whatever? Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
He said they're going to investigate everyone north of 2 mil,
The PPP that they got was worth 2 mil.
Yeah, north of 2 mil, you will be investigated.
Interesting.
So one of the other questions I got, and I'm going to get the fireball ready here because I'm going to mention the prohibited word, but the SEC came out and said, if you're an investment advisor and you took PPP funds and you're going to, have them forgiven, you have to disclose that. And so I had a number of our, individual IARs ask me, hey, Phil, do I have to disclose that? And the answer is no. They're not registered entities. It's only an entity like us, Resources, and we didn't take any PPP funds.
Fair enough.
But if you're an individual and you took it, you don't have to make any disclosures on your U4.
Sherry Fitz, I'm so glad that you're getting your bangs cut tomorrow. Good for you. That's awesome. Thanks for. We've said this over and over again to financial professionals. I just want to reiterate it. We thought PPP was an insane opportunity for you 2 months ago, or whatever it was. Was it 3 months now? 2 to 3 months ago. I still think that right now it's an insane opportunity for you to be reaching out to prospects, people that are not your clients. In the same way we advise you to help them get a PPP, you can advise them to use the PPP properly. And that's a great way to establish new relationships. Do it pro bono, do it out of the kindness of your heart to set up meetings for future. That's my thoughts.
Yep. 100%.
I got to throw a plug in there, JD. As you may have known, we were purchased in January of this year by One Digital.
You are a One Digital company.
We are a One Digital company now, and it actually has been great. And one of the things that's really been helpful is through all of this, they're an employee benefits shop. And so they've done tons of outreach to.
I've seen some of them.
Exactly. And it's been great. And it's been very helpful. So
they did insane webinars on PPP all throughout the process. I totally saw that. They were actually, I thought that was a great idea on my own. Financial professionals should be talking about this, even though they're 401k. And then I saw you guys doing it. I'm like, it's not my idea. Everyone knows that they should be doing that right now. Well, let me finish this with a bigger plug. We were invited to do our show on stage for your guys' national conference at a really nice resort. And I went there, to be honest with you, not really knowing what Resources was all about. I then went to your webpage when you guys had invited us to come and do our show, and I looked at all the financial professionals that had joined your crew, and I was blown away at the names and the images, the headshots that I saw. I mean, just a stable of 401k pros from all across the country. So my first thought was wow. So, okay, they're on to something here. All of these really intelligent, really experienced 401k studs have decided that they should be part of this group. Then when I got there, I was able to do interviews with a lot of them one-on-one. And the theme that I heard over and over again was this teamwork vibe, that they were literally from all across the country coming together with ideas, creative ideas, new ways to support their clients and sharing these concepts amongst themselves. I thought it was total BS until the end of the conference, and I knew that it was true. And so I'm not giving this a plug just because you came on the show, just because you guys had us on the stage. Everyone knows I tell it how I see it. I was honestly blown away. And so if you're an advisor and you're out there and you're listening to this, whether it's live on the show now or out there on YouTube or on our website later on, months on the line, check out Resources. It's really interesting, and try to learn a little more. It might be a good add-on to your practice.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And I got to throw it back. So I will say that there was some hesitation when it was announced, and Carrie Ohm is the one that brought you guys on. It's like, I'm not sure. if you notice, at any conference, even ours, is like you're going to have a lot of people that don't show up for the meetings. When you guys were on stage, everybody who was participating in that conference, they were there. They were bringing their spouses, and I got so many compliments of having you guys on. I think we'd love to have you guys on every year if we can.
And you wore a dope shirt on stage. That was a phenomenal shirt.
I didn't know whether to wear that or this one, but I figured.
And by the way, that little blurb I did, that little advertisement for you guys, you tell Vince I want a $750 check sent to my office pronto. All right. Thank you, sir. You are a wonderful guest.
Well done,
so
Phil.
awesome to have you. We appreciate it. Everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. Let's check out that list of all these advisors.
Oh,
Mark,
I want to go there too. I actually kind of enjoy
Let's
it.
do that. Everybody, I appreciate you being here. I'm not going to call out your names, but what we are going to do is, Brandon.
No. You were ending the show. I wasn't putting it up to drink it.
You reminded him.
Brandon.
I want to say, JD, we have great advisors.
Brandon, spin that wheel. Spin the wheel, Brandon. We're going to end on the wheel of ice.
The wheel of ice.
Who's it going to be?
It's going to be Phil. It's going to be Phil. It's going to be Phil.
It's Mark. Drink it, Mark.
Jeez, Mark.
Shortandfat.com.
Brought to you by shortandfat.com.
By the way, while Mark drinks that, did anybody notice that I beat him in the Smirnoff Ice race last week? I was fairly proud of myself in that.
No, I didn't notice, but congrats, Chad. That is good because he's a veteran. And as Mark finishes that bottle of Smirnoff Ice, so we too finish this show of Sheltering in Place. See you later, guys. Thank you very much,
everybody. Thanks, Phil. Good to chat with you, buddy.
Next week, 401k Jake.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Phil.
Bring your black hat.
All right.